This is part of a series covering games from the 2025 U.S. Senior Championships at the beautiful Chess Club and Scholastic Center in St. Louis. And in this first game, we're going to be taking a look at a win from the eventual winner, Grandmaster Alexander Fishbein, against Grandmaster Larry Christiansen. I very much enjoyed this Caro-Kann with a line that's gained a lot of popularity in the past couple of years, the immediate D3 here. And white is looking to play a immediate endgame where there's flexibility. So A4 is played, and we'll see in this game from 2024 that there's zero weaknesses that white has in the position with an ideal structure, which you see colors reverse in Philidors, Old Indians, Czech systems. But there's no immediate way for black to press. So if you like slow, methodical, in-game style positions, this is definitely something for you. And of course, Grandmaster Christiansen, known for tension, attacking play, and intensity, wants to keep aggression and options on the board. So he elected to play G6 here. And after knight BD2, we're going to quickly force a transposition into a sideline of the King's Indian attack versus Caro-Kann, where black has opted for a fianchetto. Now, the main line is typically playing E5 here with knight E7 as a follow-up. And normally black is going to slow play D4 and C5 to get a colors reversed, say, fianchetto King's Indian position. A tempo behind. But the interesting move, knight H6, was played. And after bishop G2, castle, castle, E5, getting some control over the center, and C3. Now here, a decision can already be made by black to go all in or to play in a bit more reserved nature. So C3 made a lot of sense, as D4 is one of the common plans, but both players in this game wanted to keep tension in the center, as we'll see. But F5 is definitely a move to consider here, or as I should say, as a follow-up to knight H6, as it's not typical to have that support. So knight A6 was played, keeping tension, and looking for this knight to come to C7 to further support D5 if necessary. White plays D4, and now we're at maximum capacity when it comes to the center. Everybody is occupying a key square, and it's supported. Rook E1, knight F7. The center is supercharged. It's a question of who's going to blink first, and white decides to grab. And after F takes E5, this has been great preparation by both sides. It's a roughly balanced position. Knight B3, getting out of the way, also taking away forward squares of that A6 knight. And this is where it begins to go wrong for black here. It's very natural to want to finish the development of the last piece with bishop G4, but immediately the engine eval is like, nope, we've gone from equality to white's got a bit of a plus as soon as this move is played. Top choice by my machine friend is knight C7, keeping tension and trying to relocate this knight. And after A4, B6, where we have further options to develop the light square bishop without the firm commitment that we see in the game from bishop G4. And no time is wasted immediately questioning the bishop with H3. You don't want to trade off the bishop in the open position, so bishop E6 is played. And this is a pause your video type moment, as this is an extremely high level tactic, and I've already given you a big hint by telling you a tactic is available in the position. See how far you can go, as it's understandable why a human is missing this. I wasn't quite sure where it was going as I'm following along with the engine. So if you're a pause your video type person, see what you can come up with here. All right, gave you an opportunity to pause. Let's go forward. White has the opportunity with the placement of this bishop here for a tactical sequence. That's also why the engine liked playing knight c7 earlier, so that bishop would be covered. We have e takes d5 here, and the theme, even though optically it looks like everything is covered, we have f4. Now, I can understand from human perspective where if I was trying to calculate this, I would see queen b6 and already not feel confident that I'm getting my piece back in the evaluation. Say, okay, bishop e3, d4 is where I would lose the thread personally. And I don't know so much about this line. But if you were able to see further than I was, takes this move, and here I would have surely given up if I saw this far. But the key idea is the bishop and the b7 pawn is hit. So once the bishop moves, bishop takes b7, white has more than compensation here. But not many people on the planet are able to calculate something that deeply and that accurately. So I do not miss, or I do not fault the players in the game at all. After bishop e6, so bishop e3 was played, logical, natural, looking to control the c5 square and just keep control of everything. It should be noted that if d takes e4 is played, that doubled pawn is going to be an easy target, and for the rest of the game, black will have an isolated pawn, and this is exactly the type of position that white's playing for from the get-go with this variation. So b6. Now that you've seen a tactical theme already work with this capture, give you one more pause to see if you can find what was played in the game at this point. All right, gave you the opportunity. Now let's keep going. Pawn takes d5, and after c takes d5, bishop d4. And this is the critical move to play against the center, and white nets a plus from this. After takes, takes, takes. Don't get too greedy with trying to grab on c3, as white will complete development and have lots of attacking chances. So rook c8. Again, if takes, white has more than enough compensation here. Say, in the very least, an easier play to position. Knight c7 was played. We're willing to give to get here. And after queen d7, be mindful of the drop-in squares of that d6 knight. White has perfect harmony and is still able to play against this isolated d-pawn. And we've got the best blockader of an isolated pawn in front of it, the knight. Let's look to improve our position without taking too many risks here. h4, looking at some point to potentially play h5, and it gives another square for the bishop in some variations if, say, we play king h2. Takes, takes. Now knight c1. As that knight had no forward squares, in the event of trading, that knight will then have the f4 square, which is quite nice. Slow, steady improvements. And finally, that move, bishop h3, and this is a wonderful simplification tactic where we've got the pair of knights against the knight and bishop. Queen c6, looking at back rank checks. We're not interested in trading unless we're getting exactly what we're looking for here. And after queen e8, queen takes a7, and let's see if you can find what would hold the position together for black, and it's definitely not trivial. And as we're at move 32, I don't recall the time controls of the game, but I'm assuming that you get extra time at move 40, so very likely black is in massive time trouble here. So give yourself, say, a minute and figure out what is best play. So you always have to start with the most forcing moves. Queen e1 check. And then the difficult h5, getting a luft for the king and having the potential for the knight to go to g4. Now white has to start worrying about the f pawn in the event of knight g4, not so much about the c1 knight, so queen f7. And everything is held together. Queen f3. And this is still a game, but very likely repetition earlier. So queen takes a7. Knight e4 was played in the game, and this gives white the opportunity to snatch another pawn. And knight e6, a disruption move that doesn't allow for that queen to be in a dangerous spot on e1 like we had in our side variation. So d4, putting all hopes and dreams behind the passer, but the passer is going nowhere. Get rid of the bishop. Playing for last minute tactics as natural play wasn't working. Check. Knight e1. And there's no way out of this for black. In the game, knight takes g3 was played, followed by king e2, and resigns. And that'll do it for this game. Stay tuned for the next game in the series from the Senior Championships.